Hello and welcome to Warming Up with Linear Perspective. My name is Eric and today we're going to be taking our sketchbooks and doing a fairly quick sketch of a 1-point and a 2-point perspective. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my page and I'm just going to divide it in half. Pretty simply I'm going to do the 1-point perspective on top, 2-point perspective on bottom. I do have a ruler, but I'm not really going to be using it very much unless I'm having some issues seeing some lines. And I also have my liner as I come in and do some looser sketches. Once I am more comfortable with those lines, I'm going to actually line them. Okay, so with 1-point perspective, first thing you always need is a horizon line. We'll start with the horizon line. This might be a little bit light, so I'm going to go a little bit darker. Keep it fairly light in your composition, as you will have to reduce it depending on how you are planning your composition. So I've planned my vanishing point on the right side, 1-point linear perspective, 1 vanishing point. So how I should start this is you can sort of plan however you want, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a basic shape. I'm going to make sure the shape goes above and below my horizon line here. I'm just going to do a square here. Now, as this square goes back into space, this is a flat square, we're going to have some linear perspective helping us out. So if this line were to go back all the way, something like this, if this line were to go all the way back, something like that, and then we're going to be using a vertical mark to plan this back section here. Vertical and horizontal marks are unaffected if they are flat in a plane. If they are receding towards a space, they will be defined by that vanishing point, but you're going to see how things break down depending on where they are within the composition. So the front section here does not have linear perspective within it. It's a flat space, but there's still ways of building this out. So I have just a cube here in space. Say I want to make this a house or some sort of building. First thing I'm going to do is just quickly get rid of some of that horizon line so I can see my space a little bit better. A lot of people want to do a steepled roof. There's a pretty simple way of doing a steepled roof. Try and find center. From center, come up. Decide how tall you want that center piece. This will be the front section, and this is going to push this all the way back. This line will stay parallel here as well. It's more in that angle there. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. As far as the roof, sometimes it'll poke off further. This line's still going back. Notice all these lines I'm pulling back to this vanishing point. If I would continue them, they would continue, but the form ends, so they don't have to go all the way back. Maybe circle something here. Okay, getting a nice little house going here. Okay, say I want to put some windows or some details on this. Because it is a flat space, these vertical and horizontals will be unaffected. They will stay vertical and horizontal. And then maybe there's a door or something down here. Okay, as these go back into space, say there's more windows up on here. There's going to be one line that defines the top of those windows. One line that defines the bottom of those windows. And then vertical marks in between. So on this warm-up, we're not going for perfect observations. We're just trying to get some stuff planned in there. Do a door here, that'll be vertical, vertical. That'll come through here. Okay, so some of my detail is looking pretty good here. Finish off the roof on that side. Maybe some secondary detail I could add. Very quickly, I'm going to come in with my liner and just hit some of these lines that I am more confident with now. And this is by no means a perfect linear perspective drawing. Evenly, perfectly drawing verticals and horizontals here, they're kind of goofy. That's not really what I'm interested in though for these warm-up drawings. Just interested in you getting warmed up with the idea of linear perspective. Drawing things within a perceivable space. Once again, this would be going all the way back. Roof kind of got a little oblong there. It's all right. Something you can do if an area starts to get a little bit weird, where your line work isn't perfect, just get a little bit of hatching in there. That'll be good. Okay, so verticals, these are all going back towards my space, vertical, vertical. This line is all going back towards the vanishing point as well. Vertical, vertical, vanishing point. Okay, so basic little house here. I can erase some of the planning marks. Okay, so now let's do a little bit outside. So maybe there's a, oh, I'm gonna do a graphite and come back on ink. Maybe there's a little pathway. Sidewalk style, looking good. Trying to keep it straight. Maybe there's a road on the other side of that too. Organic elements are planned in the same way. So say I have something I want to plan here, and then the base of it somewhere in here. I have a bush on the corner here. So I'm going to plan the space of this bush. And then I'm going to do a smaller one on the other side of the house, using the same space that I just planned here. And then I know this is on the same plane, so I'm actually going to do another one, just try and matching this size here. And once I match that size, as a guide, I can kind of then maybe even do one more. So just either continuing to come out this way, just like a nice big one that maybe obscures some of my vision. Remember, in a perspective drawing, you're trying to develop perspective. You're trying to develop space that feels natural. And one way of doing that is bringing a very large element towards the front. Crazy little bush form here. Maybe some internal detail here. Don't continue to push back. I'm going to obscure that space there, so I'm going to need some more detail up here. Organic elements are, I find, fairly enjoyable to draw with ink. Just don't think too much about it. Start spreading space out. Okay, so we got some bushes coming towards us in perspective. This would be like a little walkway out from the front door. Walkway coming back. Horizontals in this walkway are unaffected, so this is a good place to start. I can look here. I can build this across, horizontal. And then I know these have to be tighter, so I've given myself kind of a tight space. And these will be just a little bit larger as we come down. Now my real project, I will be spending a lot more time than this. But this is just a practice. Bring a quick vertical down on all that. Hit one more line back. It could have been a line that I could have used a ruler, obviously. Okay, let's do one more thing in 1 point, and then we'll move on to 2 point. Maybe something in the background here. So the horizon line is back here. Still looking good. Still going to be using this vanishing point here. Maybe I'll build something in the back. So all I did was build a triangle here, down here. I'm going to build some verticals. This will be a more substantial vertical. larger vertical. And then I'll do like a little telephone pole, electrical pole thing. And it's going to be very close to the horizon line, so that we'll push it back within the space. There's a lot of things that define space and perspective, such as size, contrast, value, detail. But one of the main ones is the closeness of the base to the horizon line. So this, if I push this down a little bit further, this appears further away because the base is taller, closer to the horizon line. And this all the way back here appears very far away. Obviously with scaling, I did size smaller too, but it's also very, very close to that horizon line there. Same thing, I could do this on the other side if I want, another sidewalk, build this across. This would be horizontals, building out space. And I can go from there. Internal details, same thing. This would fan out. This would be flat as far as vertical and horizontals. If I want to do bricks or something like that, good to go. Okay, 1 point perspective. Now, 2 point perspective. So 2 point perspective is very similar. You're going to start with a centralized horizon line. And then you are going to start with 2 vanishing points. 1, 2. As far left and as far right as you can go. Once again, this is just a warm-up. For your real one and your larger paper, you can plan whatever you want. But this is just a practice. One thing I like to do is I like to go asymmetrical. Same thing I did here. I pulled it to the side rather than going right down the center with a 1 point perspective. This one's kind of pulling this way. So I think I'm going to try and get this one to pull that way by starting with a vertical line further to the right. So that means there's going to be more space developed on the left than the right, or the perspective will be more dramatic on that side. So here we go. I'm coming here, coming all the way. This is my center point, closest point. Go all the way back, all the way back. This one, all the way back, all the way back. So I'm definitely not going to go all the way back. So I'm going to start here, cut me there, this one, maybe nice and dramatic back there. Okay, looking good. So I'm going to erase my horizon real quick, just to be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, so as far as space, things are looking good. Building space within here, verticals will stay unaffected still. Horizontals are going to go to one of the vanishing points, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So let's do the same thing we did here with some of these windows. So we're going to come across, we're going to do a line. I'm trying to stay straight. I'm not really using a ruler. Trying to visualize it. You can use a ruler if you'd like. It's honestly totally fine to warm up without a ruler though. You'll be doing plenty of ruler work on the real assignment, where line quality and proportions will really matter. This is sort of just a practice round. Okay, so got some windows, top and bottom, all the way going back. Say I wanted to build something more specific here, like I don't know, like a sign or something. So I'll start a vertical here, build this back, build this up, and a vertical here. Okay, so this is going to be my sign or my banner. Okay, one thing that I can do very quickly to make it three-dimensional, and this is one of the first things that we're doing on 2 point perspective. Usually it makes it makes sense starting from here and going back this way and building out here, starting from there, going back this way. But what happens when I have something on this side of center that needs to go this way? So to make this look more three-dimensional, rather than coming horizontal and down, I'm actually going to bring the line from here all the way across to define this, then from here all the way here to define that. So when I actually draw this, things are going to be looking much more three-dimensional than if it was just a vertical. I'm actually going to bump it off the wall. It looks a little bit weird going all the way to that break. Okay, so I'm going to ink real quick. Vertical stay unaffected. Those horizontal lines are going back into space, defined by that vanishing point. Okay, once again, line quality is not perfect. I can clean some of this stuff up. We're just looking for conceptual stuff, trying to build it out. Okay, so continue with this sign. One way of nicely building out a space is just adding a little hatching in there. Helps that value and the shadowing. Say I want to do like text in here. It's a little bit small to do my whole name, but I'll try and do a couple letters in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define the space of the letters just on the inside here, because I don't want them to go all the way to the edge of the sign. Okay, so I just gave myself a little border here. Then I'm remembering that verticals stay vertical, and that everything else, just about every other line, is going to have some linear perspective. So right now, the right side of my E is smaller than the left side of my E, just barely. And then we'll add an O. See if I can make this look a little bit more three-dimensional. Same thing on the outside of the E. I'm just going to push it out the other way. And then if you want, you can just erase the planning marks, so it stays within the space, a little bit of perspective. Okay, a couple more things on this, and we're going to call it for the 2-point. Coming across, maybe something in here. Could have an interior space, a garage or something. Lines that get too close to the horizon line will kind of flatten out sometimes. So when in doubt, try to make things a little bit taller. But you know, if I wanted to build out same thing I did up here, a sidewalk or something, this comes there, this comes there. There is a slight difference. Instead of, you know, horizontal lines here being unaffected, down here, these lines are going to continue. So this line's a good place to start, and this line's a good place to start. And then every line would actually fan all the way back to there. So this would go across here. And then this would continue all the way back to here on the right side. So get a couple, 'cause sometimes that angle is really bizarre, hard to see. And cut back. That'll all flatten out. That'll all flatten out. Maybe do one more just for tricks. Pull this down. And those will be vertical, because verticals are unaffected. So if we had a giant curb in the front of the building here, It's all right. So remember, in 2-point perspective, vertical things are still unaffected. Horizontal lines will go to one or the other. Let me build this one out here. Once again, this is going all the way back to here on that horizon line. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to spend about 10 minutes on each, 10 minutes on the 1-point perspective, and then 10 minutes on the 2-point perspective. Experiment a little bit, try to get some organic elements, push back to those vanishing points based on your horizon line, and push line quality. Use a little bit of ink to verify the lines that you have drawn with graphite.